beautiful people, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I'm bringing you my guest, Jasmine. So I can't remember how I stumbled upon her Instagram page, but I'm so thankful that we have connected because her page is so fun, it's real, and it's also quite informative. Following her page will save you money and be saving the planet. She is the creator behind Eat More and Wasteless. And how will that be saving you money and saving the planet? Well, let me ask you. Do you know how much food you waste daily or weekly? Do you know how else you can cook your potatoes? Or do you know how you can save those stale bread? Instead of throwing them out, how can you turn it into something delicious? You don't even need to buy stuff to save the planet. You don't need to buy that Tupperware or maybe that Ziploc bag. You can start within your own kitchen by cooking more. Oh, amazing! You will definitely learn a thing or two from this episode. I know it. And please don't forget to screenshot this and tag Jazz and I. We would really appreciate it. Now enjoy the interview.
Before we share your story, I would like to say a huge thank you because I know you have spare time for me to share your story and how more people can waste less with their food. So thank you so much for sparing time for me. And
no worries. Thank you for having me. Exciting.
I'm excited too. And I would love to know, how are you feeling today?
Thanks for asking. Yeah, I'm feeling good today. I'm in Melbourne. I live in Melbourne in Australia. So the sun is shining and I had a productive day at work and I'm going to get ice cream later with a friend. So all good things today.
Yes.
When the sun's out, it just makes such a difference, doesn't it?
Totally, I agree. And also ice cream.
Well, obviously.
Well, would you like to share with people, how did you start Eat More and Waste Less?
Yeah, thanks.
What? I said that wrong. Waste less. I said less.
It's Eat More, Waste Less.
Waste less. Yes.
So, I guess for a really long time, I'm a social worker, as I mentioned to you before we started the interview. So I guess I've always wanted to help people, and obviously people around me and the news and everything was also talking about the environment and climate change and global warming. And I think I always found that all a little bit too much. Like, it just was overwhelming. I didn't quite relate to it in the same way that I related to helping people. And it just felt like too big, too far away, a bit doom and gloom. And I just kind of, for a long time, if I'm being completely honest with you, I just ignored it. And then I've got some friends who I guess are really environmentally friendly. So it started with a few conversations. Then I watched this really great film called 2040. Have you seen it?
No.
It's a really great documentary about what our world might look like in 2040 if we embrace things that already exist today. So it was really an uplifting film as opposed to one of those really doom and gloom, there's nothing you can do films. And so from there I just started reading more and I became curious about the environment. And I guess I also realized that helping the environment actually is helping people. And so that was a real kind of, I guess, one of those light bulb moments. So I kind of started slowly trying to just do what I can. So I guess I started really small, like, maybe I just started recycling better, or I started looking at the products I was using, or things like that. Sorry, this is a very long answer. We'll get there. And then coronavirus happened and we were in lockdown, and in Melbourne we're in a stage 4 lockdown. It was one of the strictest lockdowns in the world, so we were stuck at home. And I guess we started also only shopping once a week, and then so we kind of became a lot more aware of what we're consuming and trying to use what we've got, so that we don't have to go to the supermarket again. And I guess my housemate and I, we became a little bit more creative in the kitchen, and we had fun with that. And I think just naturally I started realizing that I was wasting a lot of food. I was wasting a lot of food, and I really wanted to stop doing that. So every time we cooked a meal, when there was some leftovers or something, I always started to think, what can I do with this? How can I save it?
Yes.
And that's when my housemate said to me, oh, you should start a blog or something with all the things that you're doing to save food from the bin. And I was just sitting in stage 4 lockdown, and, obviously trying to figure out how I can help other people, and also, to be honest, like how I can help myself in this time, how I can find some kind of purpose. And so I think like 2 days later, I started the Instagram page, Eat More, Waste Less. And it's really just about, I'm definitely no expert, as I said. I still have so much to learn, but I've realized that we can do small things. And so I just really like to share my journey with people in how to reduce food waste.
Amazing. So you only started this year?
Yeah, so it was probably only a couple of months ago, actually, that I started the page, and it's been really cool to see how people have responded. People messaging me saying, "Oh, I made this dish because of your page," or "Look what I did to save." And it's really cool to see how, I guess, mindsets, people who I never would have thought would care about the environment have related to this in some way.
Yeah, I think, you know what, there are a lot of news out there saying how terrible COVID is. I mean, yes, it is, like people are dying and etc. But on the other hand, there is also the bright side. And I'm so proud of you for being so creative, because during this time, it's so important to be creative and know how we can help each other. And it also shows how much everyone wants to do something to help. And thank you for creating the page, honestly. So congratulations.
It's been a really cool journey, I guess. I've learned a lot myself. Like every time I have something left over, I Google, oh, what can I do with this? And it's been really fun. Something else I think that I've learned, and something that I'm trying to do with my page, is also to bring the joy into helping the environment.
Yes.
As it's all doom and gloom and it feels too big, but actually we can find joy in it. And one of the things that we can do to help the planet is eat.
Yes.
How cool is that? Just eat, and eat what you've got. You don't even have, you don't have to buy more. Just eat what you've got, and you're helping. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, totally. So what would be the top 5 things that you feel like people don't know how to save?
I think that the foods that are most wasted, from my research, are things like kind of like the staple food. So milk, bread, potatoes, bananas, maybe even. So some cool tricks that I've learnt with those foods. So bread is a really common one, because people buy a whole loaf, maybe eat 2 slices, and then it goes stale. So one trick that I've been doing is, if I ever buy a loaf of bread, I usually put it in the freezer basically straight away. So unless I'm eating, maybe I'll save some to have fresh that day, because it's obviously really nice to have fresh bread. And then I'll cut it up, or if it's already cut up, put it straight in the freezer, and then it lasts forever. Well, not forever, but and then you take it out and toast it. But the other things you can do are also, even if you forget, and I've 100% forgotten many times, and I've been left with stale bread on my countertop, but then you can actually put it back in the oven and make croutons, or like that really delicious crusty bread, or you can even put it in a blender and make breadcrumbs. So that's a fun one, and an easy one. And milk also is another one that I also found I don't drink milk very often. So
Yeah.
I felt like I would open a carton and then like have whatever I had, maybe for cereal or whatever it was, and then there'd be a whole lot left over. So similarly, also I learnt that you can freeze milk. So now I sometimes pour my milk into like ice cube trays,
Right.
and then when you want it, so obviously that doesn't really work necessarily for if you want, cereal right away or something like that, but it really works really well for me. I only really drink mostly almond milk for smoothies. So I just basically put the ice cube in the smoothies and there you go.
Yeah.
One more thing that I've been doing, which I think has been really helpful, some of the milk cartons, like the ones that you get from the shelf, not the cold milk, so almond milk, for example, it says once opened, consume within 10 days. And I don't know about you, but how often have you opened a carton and not remembered when you've opened it? And then you're and then you're like, uh-oh, did I open it 3 days ago or did I open it 13 days ago? And you don't know if you can drink it, so you probably get rid of it because you are on the side of caution. So I've also just been putting the date when I open it, and that really helps.
Yes.
It's so simple, and yeah, that just really helps me.
Definitely. I think, I'm not sure what was the brand that I bought, but they start putting on the Sunday, Monday, whatever, and then they ask you to tick it. So then you would know, like when it's like the next Sunday, you'll be like, oh, well, this milk is off now, I think. And also, maybe people can turn it into yogurt. Is it possible?
That's probably something. Yeah, probably can do something like that.
Okay.
As I said, I'm no expert. I'm still learning.
We're all learning every day. So good job on continuing to learn.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question. I think everyone has potatoes at home. So do you have a favorite recipe for potatoes?
So I'm definitely not the recipe queen. But what do I do with potatoes? One way that you can, often people, well, what I would say is that a potato that maybe has like some little like dots on it or things like that, you can actually just cut those out and then the rest of the potato is fine. So you don't necessarily have to chuck out the whole potato if it's not looking its best, if it's just looking a bit tired. But what else can you do with potatoes? I mean, I just do the obvious ones like mashed potato, or I do like a jacket potato. So I roast it or whatever, and then just put all the ingredients that I have in the fridge on top, and there I have the delicious meal. I've also been trying to, lots of people take off the skin and don't eat that. But first of all, like one thing I would say is that we can eat the potato skin. When you roast potatoes, it doesn't have to be without skin. But if that's your preference to have it without skin, you can actually also, while you're cooking your potatoes in the oven, roast the skin and make it like potato chips. So you just like salt and pepper, or even if you like salt and vinegar, and then you chips. I did once try that and epically failed. Got completely burnt, so ended up wasting more, but that happens, and I've done it again since and it's worked. So
yes. So
we learn from our mistakes.
Definitely. So I guess people just need to watch their temperature and they need to put enough oil. And I would also recommend you to put some garlic and rosemary. That's delicious.
Oh, yum. So good.
I should try that. I have never thought of that, actually. Yummy.
And also, the other thing I would say is that if you do burn your chips, that's okay. You know, we can't get it right every time, and maybe next time.
Definitely. It's okay to make mistakes, like literally in life.
Yeah. I actually just made an entire video. It's on my Instagram page if you'd like to check it out, of a few of my fails. And that's really only a few of them. There's many more. So I really don't get it right every time. But just remind myself that doing what I can, and that's okay.
Yeah. Thank you for being real, and thank you for being human with everyone, because we all got to learn from our mistakes. If you didn't know, the potato chips burn so quickly, then you wouldn't turn down the temperature.
Yeah, exactly right.
You would rather burn your potato chips than burn down the house. There you go.
You're right. I love that. So good.
So, because right now you're more environmentally conscious, actually share with me, how long have you been quite environmentally conscious?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier, it really hasn't been so long. I guess it's been a bit of a journey. So maybe over the last few years, I guess starting from small conversations with my friends, and then trying to read more about it, and then trying to if Instagram, for example, is the place where you get your information. For example, like I've started following other environmentally friendly people, and just trying to learn from them. But yeah, as I mentioned, like of course, like I've always been wary of food waste. It's never been something that I've wanted to do, but I haven't been so focused on it until really probably, yeah, until Corona
Yeah.
hit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it hasn't been too long, but it obviously now I love learning about it. So it feels like it's been a while, but I really have lots to learn.
Yeah, we all do, I feel. And you know what? Just like you said before, because we get so bombarded with what the media is saying, what the mainstream media is showing us.
Mm.
So I guess it can be really overwhelming. So what would you, I guess, encourage people to be more aware of in our environment? How can they start?
I think it's about for me, it was just about starting small. First of all, I would say that I completely acknowledge that it is overwhelming. I definitely felt overwhelmed, and sometimes I still do feel overwhelmed. But I guess I would just say that and I've said this many times, and I posted it on my Instagram as well, that it's not about saving the planet. It's not up to you or me to save the planet. Like, that is just so, what does that even mean? It's just about starting somewhere and doing your bit to help in some kind of way. So and it's really also about whatever we all relate to different things. And so, for example, if it's not food waste for you, if that's not kind of how you relate to the issue, or maybe you don't cook that much, maybe you don't have much time to cook, or maybe you don't have much time to think about food waste. Maybe it's about, for you, the products that you buy, your your bathroom products or your kitchen products or whatever it is. So I wouldn't say that everybody has to start creating dishes with whatever they've got left in their fridge. I wouldn't say that everyone has to I don't know, like start riding a bicycle or going vegan. Like, I wouldn't say that anybody has to save the planet and do everything. I would say to find something that you relate to, something that you're interested in, something that you'd like to explore more, and go from there. And action doesn't have to start today. Just, I think, be curious.
Yes.
And if you are feeling overwhelmed, I would just say that's totally normal. But to have some kind of an impact, it doesn't have to be this really huge gesture or this really massive thing. You can start wherever you are, in your kitchen, or in your bathroom, wherever.
Totally, I agree. You said it so right, because we all start small, and every little bit helps. And I think honestly, the very first step is to be curious and,
Yeah.
and question everything, literally everything. And Yeah, because the mainstream media really, I don't think it's providing the best information either. So, actually, let's go back to the Instagram account. What are the accounts that you would suggest people to follow?
One of my favorite ones, if you do like cooking, one of my favorite ones is this guy called Max Lamana. I can send you the
Yes,
name,
please.
the spelling. And he, I actually only found him after I started my Instagram page, but he is also all about eating more and wasting less, but he's really great at creating recipes for, so he creates, like, what did he do? So, just these insane recipes that you're like, what? How did that? Like, one time he made a recipe on how you can eat watermelon rind, like the green part of the watermelon. Or sometimes he's, yeah, it's crazy. Or he like made banana skin pancakes. We made pancakes out of banana skin, but it actually looks delicious. So he is probably one of my favorite.
You're so funny.
Probably one of my favorite food waste pages.
You're so funny because you say it looks delicious, but have you tried it?
I haven't tried what he's posted, but I'm inspired by him. So you don't have to try what you see, but I have definitely like maybe tried a variation of or something, or
Yeah.
gotten ideas for what I can do when I do have those foods left over. But you're right, I haven't
this
even
makes
tried one. Maybe they're not delicious.
that was so funny. Okay, so there is the Max.
Yeah, Max Lamana. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. Another one that's really great is called Zero Waste on the Case.
Oh,
And she posts a lot of information around just waste in general and how we can reduce waste.
yeah.
And there's so many, I don't actually remember all of their names.
That's
But if you
okay.
do a link or something, I'd be happy to share some of those pages with you.
Sure, thank you. And like we keep on saying, we start small, and two, I guess, is already enough for people to follow. And I just want to remind people that we are what we consume. Yes, we're what we eat, but you are also what you are listening to and what you are reading on your social media. And you have a choice. So if you would like to learn how to eat more and waste less so you can have an impact with everyone, please do follow Jazz, and I will leave her details in the description. Would you like to share with everyone what has been your top 3 highlights since you started?
So one thing that I think has been a real highlight has just been becoming aware of all the amazing people that are doing amazing things, that are really, coming across you. It's so cool to see that people, that there's so many people out there that want to help, that want to do their bit, and in so many different ways. So that's been one really cool thing. Definitely a highlight. The other highlight, which I've mentioned, but I'd love to reiterate, is just that we can find joy in reducing waste and in caring for our environment. And I know, like for me, something, for example, one way that I have tried to reduce waste is sometimes I play a game with myself, so it's like a challenge. What can you make with what's left in the fridge or the pantry? And sometimes that's really not very much. But when you get to the end of it, you realize that, oh my gosh, back in the day I used to think that I've got nothing left, and now I realize I've got this entire meal that's just amazing. And that's been really cool. And something else that's been great is also that how people have been so supportive. And one more
Okay.
is I think it's really cool that when you make something accessible and relatable and simple, and not too much about like the facts and because I think I also found that all a bit overwhelming. I, didn't necessarily understand the science all that well and all that kind of thing. So when you make something relatable and digestible, how people really take it on,
Yes.
that's been really cool to see, and I've really seen some behavior change, which is really great.
Yeah, I think you are spot on right there because we are so overwhelmed with literally everything going on in our lives. Like we got work and we got bills to pay, we got friends that we need to catch up with, we need to take care of ourselves. There's literally so much going on in everyone's lives. And you're right, like people need bite-sized information to take it in. So good job on doing that. Well, how else would you really encourage people to, I guess, be more creative in the kitchen?
So, well, the example that I just gave before was like have a little challenge, play a game with yourself, see what you can do. To be honest, as I've said, I'm actually not so creative myself in the kitchen. I'm actually a terrible cook.
But you have been so creative already, so you need to be proud of yourself, honestly.
Thank you. But so I guess what I would say is that I try and listen and I learn from other people and other things, and maybe find some Instagram pages that you like, people that create good food, or maybe you can set a thing like once a week I'm going to make something new. That's something that I like to do. Is we have really busy lives, so it's most of the time just easier to cook whatever you usually make, but I've tried to one new thing a week or something like that. That's been a fun way.
How can people waste less in general?
Ooh, that's a good question. So not only food, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so something that I have been, I think there's a lot of talk about recycling, but before we recycle, we need to think about reusing. So, when you go to buy new things, have a think about it. Do I really need that? Do I have something already that I can find? Does someone else have something I can find? Can I find it on Marketplace? And go from there. I think it's also okay, like I definitely don't buy everything secondhand. Absolutely not. I'd be lying if I said I did, but I'm definitely a lot more conscious now. Even for example, if I want to buy something, instead of buying it the second I decide I want it, I wait a few days and then I see, do I really need that? I think as well, when I started getting really into being more environmentally friendly, I thought like, oh, cool, I need to get all these like eco products. And then I actually looked in my kitchen and I realized actually I probably don't need new products for this. I've already got a jar that I can store my things in, or I've got, I can reuse takeaway containers, or I can find old towels that I can start using as cloths. Really, I guess I read a quote that was something about like, it's the best product is what you already have. That's not it, but it was something like that.
Yeah, I love it. You have brought up an amazing point because, to be honest, I feel like a lot of times I really want people to take away from this is know what you actually need, because a lot of times you are buying from your want and you're not really thinking, oh, like I already have a mug at home or two, or why do you need another piece of clothing when you already have so much? Do you really need a new dress when you go to that birthday party? Who the heck cares about what you're wearing, really? Like all these things, I just think that it's so important for people to be more aware, because I guess less we buy, the more we are saving, not just the planet and our wallet.
Yeah. I was about to say that as well. Like aside aside from the fun of if we're talking about food waste of creating fun dishes and all that, I've realized that I've saved lots of money because I don't need to spend $20 on an extra meal. I can create a meal from what I've already got, and same goes with everything else as well.
Speaking of saving money, how would you encourage people to shop smarter?
As I've mentioned, I've tried to be shopping smarter, or I guess maybe not smarter, maybe just more consciously. So if we're speaking of saving money, I guess that would be around, sometimes I like to take a photo of my pantry or my fridge before I go to the supermarket. And so I don't buy something that I've already got. Mm-hmm. I definitely like to meal plan. So at the beginning of the week, amazing. At the beginning of the week, I figure out what am I going to have. And when I do that, I also plan that I might have leftovers. So, and you get better at it. Sometimes I realize, I've got like 2 meals too much, but you get better at it. Also, I love shopping at like local fruit and veg stores. So there's one particular one that I love called Pino's Produce. It's at the Paran markets, and I like to go there because there's no plastic waste. There's hardly any. At the supermarket you go and sometimes the cucumbers are wrapped in plastic and it's just like, Yeah. But they give this a really affordable box of this amazing produce. And I actually went and I started to have a chat with the owner there the other day because he's just so friendly. And he ended up taking me out the back and showing me that they also have this whole system where they're recycling all their boxes and all of their waste gets composted. So they had this whole system. I'd never even seen it before, where they're composting everything.
Wow.
And I asked him what he does with leftover fruit and veg, and also what he does with fruit. How there's lots of ugly fruit and veg that kind of no one wants to buy just because it looks funny? Well, first of all,
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So first of all, there's nothing wrong. Like, it might look funny, but it tastes exactly the same. But he said that he donates a lot of that food. So I guess to shop smarter, I like to shop at places where I know people are doing good things, and really more than just their product. Like, they're doing good in lots of other ways.
Yeah. You know what? That reminded me of something. When people shop, and if you can buy the odd bunch, the not so pretty ones, I feel like you have a different type of awareness and perspective about life, because then you would judge less, literally everything in your life. Like, why are you judging this odd or ugly fruit when it's just a fruit, when it's gonna be nutritious to your body anyway?
Yeah. And I guess we're just not used to it, and we look at it and we think like, oh, is there something wrong with it? And so it's okay if in the past you haven't chosen the ugly fruit or vegetables, but it's cool to know that they taste the same and there's nothing wrong with them. And if you do choose them, you'll definitely be helping to reduce waste, because probably lots of other people won't choose them. One other way that I like to shop is also at bulk food stores, where you get to actually take your own containers. So for example, there's one place that has many stores around called the Source Bulk Food Store. There's also lots of local ones. So, I would encourage you, of course, to go to your, support local shops. But the Source is really great in that you take your own containers and fill it up. It's not always, the most affordable. So to be honest, like I don't do that for everything that I buy. But I like to do that for some of my items, because another really important point as well is it really has to be, if you want to help the environment, really has to be sustainable for you as well. So if it's not going to be sustainable for you, then it's, that's just not going to work. If you challenge yourself to make a new dish every day, you know, how is that going to work? And then you get overwhelmed, and then you probably just quit altogether. So I would really say, you know, small steps, and do what's sustainable for you.
Yes, you're right. And you're not a super robot or whatever, so take it
Yeah,
easy.
exactly. Yeah.
It's like good job on wanting to try already, I think. And
Yeah.
just keep
Yeah. So,
going, really. We are all here to help this place a better place. Would you like to talk about it? I don't know how to pronounce that word. Ethylene? Is that how you say it? The gas, vegetable, and fruit produce or something?
oh yeah. So that's about, I don't know too much about it, but I do know that there are some fruits and vegetables that have that. So it's about making sure the ones that produce a lot of that, you don't put that next to ones that, I don't know, like, yeah, that can't handle it, because then they'll go rotten faster. Is that what you wanted to know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like more people to be more aware of that. So, is it because you haven't done much
For
research about it?
example,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think what I can't even remember what's what, but I've got some like images on my Instagram which show definitely like what not to store with what. I think one of them was anyway, look on my Instagram. I don't want to get it wrong.
You're like,
I know that I do it, but I don't remember like which thing has what, and so I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want any wrong facts on here.
yes. Yeah, you know what? Thank you, because you don't want to mislead people. And
Yeah, exactly
speaking
right.
of which, though, like I just want people to be more aware of there are people out there who are not providing the right information. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to be smart about who we are following. As much
Yeah.
as their page aesthetically look amazing, sometimes we need to, like I said, question everything.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I honestly am so happy that you have created a page for more people to have more joyful times in the kitchen and, you know, do more cooking and wasteless. So before I ask you my last question, is there anything in particular that you would like to talk about?
I think I've talked a lot today. I'm not used to talking so much, especially in lockdown. But really, I think I've kind of really already reiterated my main points of, you know, find the joy for you. Start small, even just start talking or start asking. Be curious, and also be kind to yourself. It's not easy so just be kind and do what you can.
It's so important to be kind to yourself. It doesn't matter like how old you are. If you are like in your 20s or in your 15 or 55, you need to be so proud of how many years that you have lived, because life can be tough sometimes. Actually, a lot of times.
Love that. That's so true.
So,
We should be so
yeah.
proud. Yeah.
Well,
Especially in this time, it's obviously a really challenging time for everyone. So
yes.
it's okay not to feel okay, and be kind in yourself in those moments. And you know, if now is not the time for you, if you don't have capacity to think about the environment right now as well, that's also okay. You know, like whenever everyone's on their own journey.
Yes.
So whenever you're ready.
Totally.
And whenever you are ready, feel free to reach out and chat about it. I'd love to chat more to anyone who's interested, or who's on any stage of their journey. I'm sure I can learn from everyone, and hopefully I can share something with everyone too.
That is a really, really beautiful attitude. Thank you so much. And that also brought me to my last question. How do you think we can be there for each other in general?
Oh, that's such a kind question to ask. I think that we can listen to each other, That's really, really important. Always, I think something that I always try to do is also validate people's feelings. If people are having a hard time or something's really challenging, just remind them that they're not alone and that those feelings are okay. Instead of trying to fix everything or make it better. Sometimes people just want to know that what they're feeling is normal. And then I guess also check in with people, see how they are. Even your strong friends, even the people that that you think are strong, check in on them too. I think at the moment, especially, connection more than ever is so important. So just to check in and try and connect.
I love those points. They were so great because recognizing your feelings and emotions are so important, because I don't know if you get told this all the time. Like when you are feeling sad or something terrible has happened to whoever that's listening or to you, Jess, and then people are like, oh, just think positively. Oh, it wasn't that bad. And it's like, no, I'm feeling shit. So can you just be human and be like, oh yeah, that was shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess at the end, like, honestly, like, you're right, like, validate their feelings, but know how to be there for them and listen.
Right.
Like, oh
yeah and more importantly, I would even say, how we can be there for each other is first and foremost is just be there for yourself. So look after yourself, because if you're struggling, it's going to be hard to look after someone else. So it's that old thing of like, put on your own mask before you put on someone else's. So
yeah, you're right. Well, thank you, Jazz, so much for your time today and for sharing your journey with everyone. I can't wait for people to eat more and waste less.
Yeah, all you have to do is eat. You feel good about helping our environment and helping people.
Totally.
But thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been so much fun to chat with you.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll chat again soon.
How beautiful is Jazz? I'm so proud of her for doing what she can to help herself and for our planet. And guess what? You can too. We all got to start somewhere, and we all start small. Like what Jess said, find something that you enjoy doing. Let it be cooking, let it be reinventing on what you can reuse. Good job on starting and having that awareness. Keep on going, because you will inspire other people as well. Now, I would like to add on a few things in regards to food. First of all, always have a list when you do grocery shopping and stick to it. Because you will definitely be saving your money and you will definitely waste less food. And I really like what Jazz said. Take a photo of your fridge and your pantry and see what you really have. Second, meal prep. Always meal prep. And if you do make more than what you can eat, well, gift it to people. Gift it to your housemate, gift it to your neighbor, gift it to your colleague. It was made from your love, wasn't it? It would be a really kind gift. Thirdly, eat the right portion size. That's right. A lot of times we're actually overeating. And we also eat when we're bored. So be more aware of how much you're actually eating. Like what Jess said, a lot of times it's actually what we want, not what we need. I really hope that you have enjoyed the interview and you have learned a thing or two. Don't forget to screenshot this and tag Jazz and I. We will honestly appreciate it. Now go and subscribe to this channel, click the thumbs up button if you have loved it, and share it with someone, because you never know what they're going through. If you have a story or if you are on a mission that you would like to share with more people, please get in contact. I would love to chat with you. And remember, you're amazing and you are not alone. And I will see you next time.